Hi, once again, good morning, all. Okay, so today, as part of today, we are going to discuss about. Okay, so what are the last time we deployed SQL Server database, SQL Server, okay, with the DTU purchasing model, and what are the different types of purchasing model available in the DTU, like a standard, basic, premium, okay, and basic, standard, premium. So this week we are going to see some more differences, okay, in vcore. So basically what is vcore purchasing model. So what are the different purchasing models are available when you specially go to the vcore. So like a general purpose, hyperscale, business critical, serverless. Then we'll compare between DTU purchasing model and vcore purchasing model. Okay, and also we are going to discuss about the licensing part. Okay, so if you have the on-prem licenses, so how it is applicable over on Azure SQL. So when you go for cloud, so can I use the same licenser? So whatever I purchase on on-prem. So for example, you have purchased licenses for on-prem. So same license can be applicable for Azure cloud? Yes, sir. So how it is going to calculate? So that is what we are going to see in the hybrid cloud. Okay, so benefits. No, basically, so we already discussed about what is the DTU. DTU is nothing but blend of a measure of like a CPU, memory, and IO inputs, outputs. Like when you go for vCore, when you specially go for vCore, it's absolutely same, sir, how you are working in on-prem. So in on-prem, we are working with a core processor, right? So when you open our computer properties, MS Info 32. See, so here you will get complete information about how many core processors. So I'm running with the 4 core sockets and 8 core logical processors. Okay. So completely my VM is running with 8 core machine. So how your VM is designed in on-prem. So when you go to the Azure SQL database, or when you go to the Azure Elastic Pool, or when you go to the Azure managed instance, okay. So almost similar, sir, because both are vCore methodology, right? Almost. So whatever you are working in on-prem, when you go for vcore purchasing model or vcore service tier, okay, so when you go for cloud, so almost similar. How many core processor you want? So for example, in on-prem we are running with 8 core processor. You can go for in cloud also, you can go for 8 core processor. So how much of memory? Okay, so similar, almost similar when we compare from on-prem to the cloud. So vCore methodology supports for all PaaS and environment, like Azure Managed Instance, Azure SQL Database, Azure Elastic Pool. But when you go for DTU, DTU will supports only Azure Single Database, Azure Elastic Pool. So DTU is not compatible with the Azure Managed Instance. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. See, vCore based purchasing model supports 3 level of database TX. So basically, we have 3 levels. One is general purpose, one is hyperscale, one is the business critical. In general purpose, we have two methodologies. Like one is the provisioned, okay, one is the serverless. Very interesting concept. We'll discuss when we are going to deploy the Azure SQL database. So this model is closer to the classical approach where you would have a physical or virtual machine. It's like a classic approach, sir. So whatever you are working till now, okay, so till now whatever you are working from on-prem, absolutely same when you go to the vCore method purchasing model, deploy over the, either you are going for PaaS or you are going for as, it's almost similar. It's almost similar. There is no difference where you can notice when you are choosing vCore purchasing model. Okay, and you can scale each resource independently. See, when you compare with the DTU, okay. So in compare with the DTU, where when you increase the number of DTUs, okay, you automatically increase in the CPU, memory, IO. For vCore, you are having the flexibility to scale each resource independently, sir. So when you go for vCore purchasing model, This is a classic approach where we are working independently, where you need to select the RAM, where you need to select the core processors, where you are going to select the storage independently. There is no dependency, sir. When we go for classic approach, CPUs, memory, IO are independently working. But when you go for DTO purchasing model, it is a blend, it is a measure, okay, of CPU, memory. It's all our dependency. It's all dependency when you go for the DTO purchasing model. So this is the only one difference you cannot see. So CPU, storage, memory is working independently. When you go for vCore purchasing model, it's like a almost classic approach. Okay. So when you go to the DTU, when you specially go to the DTU, it's a blend of, okay, it's blend of compute, memory, storage. Okay, there is a dependency, sir, when you go for DTO purchasing model. So when you go for vCore purchasing model, so all resources are working independently.
What's
All
the rules of memory for SQL Server? Does it generally just limit itself to the 4 gig that it's using, or does it technically expand out?
No, so it's based on our activities, whatever we are performing, right, sir? Okay, so the memory consumption will be.
I noticed on our monitoring software that it's saying that it's what's the error that it gives?
You mean to say memory is consuming a lot by SQL?
No, it doesn't ever say that. I have a different program, so I was going to ask you while we're sitting here twiddling my thumbs. I get these.
What is the memory capacity over the VM, sir?
36 gig, I think.
Okay. Is there any? You set the memory cap at the SQL level?
No, I haven't. That's why I was asking it.
Yes.
It never seems to exceed this 47.
Okay. Can you go to? Okay. Can you go to the SQL Server Management Studio once again? Can you right click on the instance and go to the properties? Can you click on memory? No, it's okay, 24 gig.
Yeah, so that's not. It should be able to go past it.
No, can you go to the memory? Can you once again go to the properties of SQL Server? Can you click on memory in right side? Sorry, in left side. Panel. Yes. Okay. Can you please restrict the SQL memory utilization, sir? It's like a as per the best practices where we need to set the memory cap for the SQL Server, like out of physical memory. So 80% we need to set for SQL, 20% we need to leave for Windows activities.
So where do we send this? Where are you saying this?
Sorry?
Where do you want me to set this?
So maximum server memory. So where you can remove that whatever the value is available. It's the default value. Okay. Yeah.
What do you want to set to?
Can you restrict the memory if SQL is consuming a lot? You can restrict the memory here, sir. So what I mean to say.
I'm not looking to restrict it. I'm just saying it never goes over to where it's at.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be pulling more memory than 4 gig. 4 gig.
Okay.
And there's obviously.
So how use the databases, sir?
Yeah, it's not very big.
Okay.
But the question was more towards.
So why it's not crossing 4 ZP? of memory.
Yeah.
So even we have a lot of memories available over the RAM, and we not yet restricted. Yeah, let me analyze the log, sir. Okay, so let's see. Hope we'll get this info as well over the logs. So otherwise, I can look into the memory as well. Can you open that command prompt, sir? Okay. Can you close this?
Do I just close it, or
Yes. Yes.
literally you want it closed?
Yes, sir.
Apparently not.
Open the yeah. No, sir. Yeah. Can you zip that output log and okay. Hey, sorry, yeah. Okay, everyone able to hear, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hey, sorry, extremely. Okay. So where we are? Yeah. See, when we go for DTUs, it's like a okay dependency, sir. Where you are working with this compute, memory, storage, or on purely on dependent. But when you go for vCore purchasing model, so it's like a classic approach where you are working individually. Okay, your core, your memory, your storage. So where we are going to select all independently when you are going to deploy either Azure SQL database or Azure Elastic Pool or Azure managed instance. So when you go for Azure managed instance, we have only two purchasing model, that is general purpose and hyperscale. So sorry, business critical. So hyperscale is not compatible in the Azure managed instance, but when you go for Elastic Pool, when you go for Azure database, okay, so hyperscale is the one advanced concept where you can see in Azure SQL database or Azure Elastic Pools. Okay, clear? Not clear? So what is the vCore? What is the difference between vCore and DTU? Any questions? Raju, Murli, Manoj,
No.
Chitendra, Manjunath, Sridhar.
No.
It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Let me. Okay. So we'll discuss this slide in a while. Okay. It's very interesting slide where you will get more info. Okay. So what are the differences you will notice when go for general purpose, when you go for business critical, when you go for hyperscale. Okay, sir. And one more thing. So business critical and hyperscale, I will show you when we are discussing on the Azure managed instance session, because we'll purchase the subscription, right? So under free trial subscription, you cannot go and deploy your Azure SQL database or Azure Elastic Pool over business critical and hyperscale, sir. Okay, so that is not is available under the free trial subscription. Okay, no worries. So we'll discuss a lot on when we are discussing on the Azure managed instance. Okay, so because we will purchase the subscription, right? So at that time I will show you the business critical and hyperscale. Okay, so clear? Not clear? So let me do one thing. So let me first deploy the. We already having the database. Okay, let me go and deploy one more database. Okay, let me SQL vCore. Okay, I'm just selecting my database name as a SQL vCore. Okay, so and we already having a logical server, sir. So on the same logical server, I am going to deploy. You already know how to create the logical server, right? Yes or no? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, now go to the configuration. Okay, so go to the configuration. As I told you, when you go to the TTU purchasing model, so we have the basic, standard, premium. So we have the limitations, sir. When you go for basic, only 5 DTUs, and max you can go for, when you go for base max, you can go for 2 GP. So when you go for standard, maximum you can go for 3000 DTUs, maximum you can go for 1 terabyte. So when you go for premium, maximum it will support 4000 DTUs and up to your database size can be 4 terabytes. Your database size can be 4 terabytes, sir. Okay, 4 terabytes. Now you will get one question here. Sir, okay, I am selecting 1 terabyte. Okay, my database size. If I'm exceeding 1 terabyte, so what I need to do? So in that cases, you can contact Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft will increase the database capacity. Microsoft will increase the database capacity, sir. That is one thing. And you will get one more question. So okay, I'm creating a database with 1 TB. I'm creating a database with 1 TB. Okay, now let me know what is my log file utilization, how much my log file utilization, how much my data file utilization. Yes or no? Everyone will get one question. So I'm choosing 1 TB. Okay, how can I restrict? So where can I restrict my log file size growth? Yes or no? Yeah, that we'll see in practical in a while once we deploy a server. Okay, let me deploy a database. We'll go and verify all those commands today. Okay, clear? Not clear? So when you go to the DTO purchasing model, basic will support 5 DTOs and up to your database size will be 2 GB. When you go for standard, 3000 DTOs and up to 1 terabyte. When you go for premium, your DTOs capacity will be 4000 and your database size can be 4 gig. So I will show you premium when we are discussing, when we are deploying the Azure managed instance. Okay. Okay. Now, as per today, we are going to see the vCore purchasing model. It is like a classic model, sir. How you are working in on-prem, right? Same how you will work in the cloud as well. Same how you will work in the cloud as well. But see, when you go to the vCore also, we have 3 purchasing model. One is general purpose, one is the hyperscale, one is the business critical. General purpose, hyperscale, business critical. See, sir, here you need to see the cost as well. Okay, you need to see the cost as well when I'm going for hyperscale, when I go for business critical. See, balanced, okay, resources when you go for general purpose. So when you go for general purpose, it is a balancer. So balanced vCore, balanced storage, balanced memory. So when you go for business critical, if you want latency, less latency, then go for business critical. See, sir. So 1 to 2 millisecond throughput latency, IOPS, inputs, outputs, right? So 1 to 2 milliseconds you can see when you go for business critical. When you go for general purpose, 2 to 10 milliseconds. So if you want less latency, then go for business critical. If you want, okay, balance, okay, so 10 is comfortable, okay, then you can go for the general purpose. You need to see the price as well, right? Cost. You need to see the cost as well, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? So when you go to the general purpose, okay, see, maximum you can select 80 vCores. In general purpose, you can select 80 vCores and your database size will be 4 terabytes. Sorry, 4 TB. 4 TB. Okay, so your 4 terabytes. So maximum when you go for general purpose, it will support up to 8, okay, vCore, 80 vCore, and max you can keep 4 terabytes of your database. 4 terabytes of your database. Got you? Online people?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in general purpose also, maximum you can go for 4 terabytes. Maximum you can go for 4 terabytes. So what is the difference then general purpose and business critical? So in business critical also, maximum you can go for 4 terabytes. You cannot go for beyond 4 terabytes. But when you go for hyperscale, maximum your database size can be 100 terabytes, sir. Massive storage. If I want massive storage, then go for hyperscale. Sir, which is going to support 100 terabytes. Which is going to support 100 terabytes. Up to your database size can be 100 terabytes. Now it is under preview. It is Microsoft is enhancing to the 200 terabytes. 200 terabytes. So if you want to massive storage, then go for the hyperscale. If you want to balance everything, go for general purpose. If you want low latency, and I want replicas, then go for the business critical, sir. See here, when you go for general purpose, so we have two compute layers. One is provisioned, one is serverless. One is provisioned, one is serverless. So there are two. So what is the difference between provision and serverless? So what is first of all provision? What is a provision? See, compute resources are pre-allocated, billed per hour based on the vCore configured. Based on the vCore configured means it is allocated, sir, predefined, allocated. So all your compute resources like CPU, memory, IO are allocated to your VM, okay. So and Microsoft is going to charge per hourly basis. Microsoft is going to charge per hourly basis. So getting? So getting everyone? When you go for provision, okay. So Microsoft is allocating a VM for you, VM for you, and he is going to allocate all the resources like CPU, memory, and storage. Okay, so that cannot be used by any other resources, any other. So when you go for provision, in provision, so we have hardware configuration again. So I wanted to change my hardware configuration. So I have three types. So now one more type is added. So earlier, like 2 months, 3 months back, so we have only three. So one is the Gen 5, FS V2 series, DC series, M series, M series. So Gen 5 is the balance, sir. Gen 5 is the balance where you will get balance all the resources like CPU, memory, and storage. When you go for FS V2 series, so compute optimized, sir. See, there are not much difference. Only 1,000 rupees is the difference when you go for Gen 5, when you go for FS V2 series, because so Microsoft is restricting the memory. See, so you will get only 136 GB, and the cost is only minor difference. You are seeing minor difference, 1,000 rupees. Sorry, not 1,000. Yeah, it's 1,000 rupees. No, it's 1,000 rupees. It's 1,000 rupees, sir. So only minor difference you will see. So when you go for, so mostly in real world also we'll select the Gen 5. It is a balance where we will get huge amount of RAM. But how much you are selecting, that is also comes into the picture, sir. So based on your core, Microsoft is going to allocate the memory. Based on your core, Microsoft is allocating the memory, sir. See, enable the confidential compute. So DC series. So recently added, sir, this one. So earlier we have only three series, that is Gen 5, FS V2 series, M series. M series is nothing but the memory optimized. It's still under a preview. So in a couple of you will get the M series as well. But M series only available in business critical, I believe. Yeah. So it's M series available in the business critical. I will show you when we are discussing in the Azure managed instance. So M series will be available in the business critical, but it is not in the general purpose. It is not in the general purpose. So mostly we'll go for the Gen 5, sir, where you will get the balanced resources. Any questions? Hardware configuration?
No, sir.
Remaining people, only few.
No, fine.
Okay. So let me go for Gen 5. Now based on your based on your core processor, Okay, so based on your core processor, based on your data file size, Microsoft is deciding 307 GB of log space. Microsoft is allocating by default. By default, Microsoft is allocating. Okay, so 307 GB if I go for 1 terabytes. If I go for maximum vCore, and if I go for 4 terabytes, out of 4 terabytes, 1 TB Microsoft is allocating for log file, and remaining it's allocating for the data files. Remaining it is allocating for the data files. Okay.
Will to change that one?
Sorry. Yes, you can change later. Once you can go to the connect to the database. That is what we'll see. Clear? Not clear?
Yeah.
Okay. And one more thing, sir. Would you like to make this database zone redundancy? Yes. It's under still preview, sir. In general purpose, we don't have any redundancy where I am going to say this. Okay. Presentation. See, so when you go for availability, like availability, one replica, only one replica, so there is no secondary replicas. When you go for general purpose, so there is no secondary replica, only we have the primary replica, so the your database. But when you go for business critical, when you go for hyperscale, okay, so 3 replicas, one read scale replica, so where you will route all the connections to the, okay, so one replica. So out of 4 replicas, 3 replicas, okay, will be 2 replicas will be standing for the secondary, and one will be primary, one will be for the read replicas, where you can balance the load. When you go for hyperscale, one will be primary and 3 will be read only. So where you can route the connections, to reduce the burden or the primary replica. That is one major advantage when you go for hyperscale, when you go for business critical. So still Microsoft is under preview, where is also going to add secondary replicas, okay, in the general purpose as well, in a couple of days, where you can see in general purpose also. So Microsoft is going to add the secondary replicas. Got you? Got you, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when you go for compute tiers, when you go for storage, so in business critical and general purpose, maximum you can go to up to 4 terabytes. But when you go to the when you go to the hyperscale, max you can go for 100 terabytes. Even Microsoft is enhancing to the 200 terabytes. Okay, so and the backups are, when you go to the general purpose, when you go to the business critical, so the retention, backup retention is, okay, 7 to 35 days. Okay, by default it is a 7 days retention, and you can increase up to 35 days retention, backup retention, sir. So what is the backup frequency? Means how backups are automatically taking, okay, or based on what schedule backups are taking. Every weekly full backup, a daily 12 to 24 hours differential backup, 1 to 2 hours, in between 1 to 2 hours. So Microsoft is taking log backup. We'll discuss a lot on the backups and restore in coming sessions, sir. Okay, no need to worry. So when you go for general purpose, the default retention is 7 days. You can go for 35 days. So in business criticals also 7 days default, you can go for 35 days retention. But when you go for hyperscale, sir, okay, snapshot backups will be taken, and the backups will be stored in the remotely, not locally. So Microsoft is not storing your backups on local, sir. Microsoft is storing your backups on the remotely. Clear? Clear? Online people? So snapshot backups will be occur. So we are not taking any full backup, differential backup, log backups. So backups will be happen snapshot when you go for hyperscale. Till now, in my experience, we never use hyperscale. It's a bit costly service. Okay, so we mostly will go for general purpose. In few of couple of scenarios, we'll also go for the business critical. If application team wants very less latency, we can go for the business critical. Clear? Not clear, everyone? So same thing, sir. Where you can see, let me show you. Okay, let me open new. Okay, so when you go for vCore purchasing model, just whatever the docs I am sharing to you, sir, right, sir? Just keep one folder as a bookmark and add all the URLs up to that bookmark, sir. If you don't know, it's very simple. Okay, let me show you. It will help you a lot. Okay, 1 second, sir. Okay, so right click on the bookmark. Okay, so click on add folder. It will create one folder for you. Then just click on this bookmark. Okay, it will ask you where you need to store that link. So whatever the folder you created, right, you choose that folder, sir. So keep all Azure SQL in under one folder. Okay, that will be very helpful, where you can go and watch anytime whenever you have the time. Okay, clear? Not clear? How to create the bookmark? Okay, just let me share, sir. Whatever I'm sharing daily. Okay, please add the bookmark, sir. Okay. Now, okay, under vCore overview. So vCore will support both, sir, Azure SQL Database, Azure Elastic Pool, Azure Serverless, and Azure Managed Instance. So your vCore is compatible for all three, sir. Okay, Azure SQL Database, Azure Elastic Pools, and Azure Serverless, Azure Managed Instance. All are compatible when you go for vCore purchasing model. Okay, so I already told you, right, sir? So when you go for a service tier, so business critical, general purpose, hyperscale, please refer this block. You will get lot many information. Okay, so redundancy still there is no redundancy, sir, still not yet added, but it's supposed to. It is under preview, so they are going to add the secondary. They are going to add the secondary, sir, in a while. So you can see in next couple of months or couple of days, you can see secondary replicas in general purpose as well. Okay, clear? Not clear? Okay, in memory OLTP is not compatible in general purpose, not compatible in hyperscale. It is only compatible in the business critical, sir. Okay, so just refer this article. You will get complete information about. Okay, so what are the hardware configurations, FSv2 series, M series, okay, DC series, so latest docs, sir. So that is what my request. I told you, right? So don't stick with the material, so stick with the blocks where you will get lot info, because Microsoft is keep on enhancing the adding few more additional features, enhancing the dashboards, all latest update you will get from the Microsoft docs. Up to here, clear, everyone?
But what under the general purpose, what is the serverless option, sir?
Yeah, I'm going to not yet discuss it. Okay, so just
Okay.
once this part is everyone is clear, then I go for okay. So let me again go back. vCore. Let me choose general purpose. Okay. Sorry. Go for okay. Okay. Now, before okay, let me discuss what is serverless. See, let me ask you one question. So earlier, like 5 6 years back, 5 6 6 years back, when you in the telecom, so when you are dialing to someone, right? So how they're charging per minute, right? Yes or no? Per minute they are charging 1 rupee. Per minute they are charging 2 rupees per minute. Some amount, sir. They are charging, right? So so Docomo changed complete your telecom industry. So where Docomo came up with the second basis. Yes or no? Online people?
Yes.
Yes or no? Completely. So nothing, sir. Even when you go for serverless, Microsoft is going to charge per second. Microsoft is going to charge per second when you go for serverless. When you go for serverless, so Microsoft is going to charge per secondly basis. So when you go for remaining all, okay, so Microsoft is going to charge per hourly basis, right? Once it cross the hour, so for example, it's 10 o'clock, it's 10:01, so Microsoft will charge for 1 hour. Even you cross for 1 second or even you cross for 2 seconds. So Microsoft will charge for hourly basis. If you are using, not using, after 2 seconds or 1 minute. So Microsoft is going to charge per hourly basis. When you go for serverless, so Microsoft charge per second, sir. See, your compute resource are auto scaled. Auto scale. See, when you go for serverless, means so whenever you are trying to connect to the database and you are trying to perform the activities, then automatically the resource will be allocated. If you are not using your databases, that resource can be utilized by someone else. It is not pre-allocated, sir, for you. So what Microsoft is doing, so Microsoft is allocating the resource when you are trying to access the databases. So if you are not accessing the databases, so Microsoft will allocate that resources to someone else. Getting, sir, when you go for serverless?
Yes, sir. No.
Sorry, who told no?
Manjunath.
Manjuna, see, just let me give you, okay? So if you assume you created one database with serverless, okay? So you selected 10 core processors and you selected 250 GB RAM. So 250 GB storage. See, so for example, here vCore, right? So here the storage is in, it will come in the bottom, sir. So for example, you are selecting, okay? So for example, you are selecting with 8 core. Minimum you are selecting, okay? So it's not coming. So for your 8 core, Microsoft is allocating 24 GB max for the 8 core. So Microsoft is allocating 24 GB of RAM max. So he will allocate this 8 core and 20 GB of RAM to your databases, to your database. So if you are not connecting to database and if you are not working anything, means no one is accessing your database, no one is triggering any query to your database, so auto pass delay. See, we have one, okay, automatically within 1 hour. See, within 1 hour, if you're not, any user is not able to, not trying to connect to a database or not triggering any activities over the database, automatically your database will go for pass. Means that resources, that 24 GB RAM, that 8 core processors can be consumed by any other resources, sir. Getting? Then you will
Yes.
get one doubt, sir, when I will again, when my resources will back, once you start accessing the database. So for example, Jitendra triggered again select statement, okay, then automatically your resources will be pre-allocated again your resources will be back and the resources will be allocated to the database and Jitendra can perform the select statement. Getting? But here you will see whoever triggering first time, they may notice the performance, right? They may notice because that resource need to be allocated to the your databases, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
First time whoever triggering, you may see some performance delays. Getting? Not getting? When you go for serverless?
Yes, sir.
Online people? Everyone? Getting? Not getting? When you go to the serverless, okay, when you go to the serverless, okay, the resources are not pre-allocated, okay, the resources are just scalable, okay. So whenever you are trying to access this, so Microsoft will allocate the resources to your database. If your database is idle for a while, that resources will be again deallocated and they can be used by any other. So that is what happening when you go for serverless. So maximum how many you will get one out. So maximum up to 40 core, 40 core max up to 40 core when you go for Gen 5. Okay, so maximum up to 120 GB, of memory, and maximum your database size can be 4 terabytes. Even in serverless also. So Microsoft is offering 40 core vCore, 120 GB of RAM, and 4 terabytes your database can be. You can keep under serverless. Sir. Got you?
So are they going to charge for the pause period?
No. So that is what serverless.
Okay, but we have storage as is, right? They don't unallocate storage.
See the cost,
without
sir.
data.
Okay. See the cost, how much? See, estimating storage cost. See, Microsoft is not charging for CPU vCore. See, Microsoft is charging for vCore per second. Microsoft is estimated cost for storage. Microsoft is charging for storage, sir. See here. Getting? Microsoft is not charging for your vCore for your RAM. It's like per second Microsoft is charging for vCore. But when you go for storage, Microsoft is charging around 42,000 per month. Storage. It's 4 terabytes, right, sir? Getting? Not getting? Jitendra,
clear.
clear?
Clear.
Microsoft is not charging for your core, RAM, vCore. Microsoft is charging per second, sir. But okay, see the cost, very less cost. Is even Microsoft is not charging. How much Microsoft is charging for 40 core? Okay, so here you can, sir. Here you can pass automatically. Okay, you can enable. Okay, so you can enable per minutes, per days, per hours. You can set it, sir. The database automatically pass if there is inactive for it time period specified here, and automatically resume when the database active records. Means, so whenever you are accessing the database and performing any transactions, automatically it will start resuming and your resources will be allocated to your database. Clear? Not clear?
So what is difference between server? Subbu?
Sorry?
Yeah, what is the difference between serverless and logical server then? Because logical server means again it's not a server, right?
See, actually, I need to tell one concept. Okay, what is how Microsoft is managing? Okay, see, basically, when you go for on-prem, sir, we have the clusters. Yes or no? We have the clusters, right? Where they are going to build the massive clusters and group all the servers. Okay, yes or no? In on-prem, like when you go for Azure, we have the scale sets. It's again we are grouping the servers in the form of scale sets, sir. In the form of scale set, we are grouping. But when you go for Azure SQL, especially, okay. So let me show you. One second, sir. Okay, so let me go for Service Fabric. No. Let me open new window. So how Microsoft is maintaining? Very good question, actually. So that is what I wanted to discuss with you. Okay, when you go to the Service Fabric, okay, so don't configure, sir. It's very costly service. Okay, so just I'm showing to you. Okay, see, when you go for here, okay, so when you scroll down, Microsoft is creating VM scale set capacity, scale set, grouping the servers. That can be containers, that can be Linux, that can be Windows, sir. Getting my point? See, you can go for scale set, you can go for containers like a Docker containers, Kubernetes containers. You can go for Windows based containers. So Windows based containers, you can go for Linux based containers as well, Linux based scale set as well, where you are grouping massive servers, sir. what Microsoft is doing backend for you. So Microsoft is creating a scale set for you in backend. So that is nothing but Service Fabric. Okay, so let me open Google. Okay, yeah, 1 second, sir. Where is we go? Serverless DTO. Okay, let me go to the Google. Azure. Service Fabric. How Microsoft maintaining this many databases, okay, over the cloud? So nothing but a good question is, so answer is Azure Service Fabric. Azure Service Fabric is a distributed system platform that makes it easy to package, deploy, and manage scalable and reliable microservices and containers. So this is the concept in backend. It is working. Microsoft is. So how you are getting all these PaaS when you especially working with a PaaS environment? So how Microsoft is maintaining when you go for Azure SQL, when you go for Azure SQL, when you go for Azure Managed Instance, when you go for Azure Elastic Builds, how Microsoft is maintaining all this platform as a service? So in backend, Microsoft is configuring for you Azure Service Fabric. Getting my point? All in people?
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, how your on-prem data centers will work, right? Same how you're here also it is working, but Microsoft is configuring a scale set. So where in on-prem you will configure the clusters, right? Where you are grouping all the servers under the cluster. So here you are creating the scale set, and Microsoft is grouping all, and he is allocating. So whenever you are going to deploy, so Microsoft in backend it is allocating automatically. Clear? Not clear? Not only your Azure SQL database, sir, Azure Cosmos DB, okay, Azure Power BI, okay, Azure Event Hub, IoT Hub, okay, Dynamic 365, Skype for the business, many more Azure services. Not only your Azure SQL database, not only your managed instance, sir. Lot many services are working in the backend. It is working with Azure Service Fabric. So massive servers where he's creating the Azure scale set here. He's grouping all the servers. Okay, and he's distributing the servers whenever you are going to deploy. So automatically that will distribute. Clear, Jitendra?
Yes.
Okay. For as you are starting, okay. So whoever starting Azure, okay. It will take some time to understood how Microsoft, because we need to go through complete the docs. Okay, so we need to go complete the docs about the Service Fabric, how the Microsoft is managing backend pools, backend. Okay, but in a simple terms, Microsoft is nothing. So Microsoft is creating, maintaining the scale set. So we created the availability set, right? Yes or no? For always on. For always on,
Yes,
we
sir.
created the available. Yeah, same, sir. Same. But it's very costly, sir. Okay, don't deploy Service Fabric. Okay, clear? Not clear? Just Azure Microsoft is using Service Fabric over the backend. That can be Windows, that can be Linux, that can be container. Anywhere you are selecting, sir, here. Anywhere you are selecting, so I'm going to deploy my database in Windows platform. I'm going to deploy my database in Linux platform. I'm going to deploy in containers. You are not sure. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Anywhere you are selecting, anywhere you can tell us it is a Windows platform. Can anyone tell us this is a Linux platform? Anyone tell us it is a container platform? We are not sure. It can be containers, it can be Windows, it can be Linux. Platform as a service, we are not controlling infrastructure. So we are just deploying this application, and we are focusing on the data. Will it clear everyone?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. In this case, if we have any on-premise licenses, and suppose this serverless has Linux.
Next I am going to discuss.
Okay.
So same concept. Okay, we are going by step, sir. Okay, first I discuss about purchasing models, like when it's go for general purpose, hyperscale, business critical. What are the limitations you can see? Okay, then in general purpose we have the provision serverless, one interesting concept. So what is the serverless? So how to reduce the cost? Okay, that we discuss. Now how Microsoft is maintaining the infrastructure, sir, for all your past environments, means using the service fabric. That is also you are clear. What is the service fabric? It is nothing like a Azure scale set where you are going to group up the, either it can be VMs, either it can be Windows VMs, either it can be Linux VM, either it can be container VMs. Okay, so that is what happening in the backend, sir. Next part, license. Very good. Okay, next is we are going to discuss about the license. Okay, so save up to 55% with the license you already own. If you have the license, so where you can save up to 55%. Say Microsoft is going to charge only 45% for your resources, sir. So where you can save your uh, cost if you have the license. Then let me ask you. So, sir, I'm having a license over on-prem. Can I use that license in Azure? Can I use that license in Azure?
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Okay, click here. So if you have SQL license with the software assurance, okay, or SQL Server subscription, use Azure hybrid benefit. So Microsoft is clearly mentioning some. For you, Microsoft is clearly telling, yes, you can use. See, if you have SQL Server license with software assurance or SQL Server subscriptions, okay, then you can go for hybrid benefits. So what is that hybrid benefits, first of all? Okay, let me click on more. Where it is, sorry. Yes, click on more. You will get the windows. Okay. Oh, oh my God. AWS is the 5 times more expensive than Azure for Windows servers and the SQL servers. Will you agree? AWS is the 5 times more expensive than Azure, because Microsoft is our product only, right? So we have less price when compared to the when you are going to deploy your SQL server over the AWS platform. Getting? And when you scroll down, see clearly mentioned here. Clearly about your license. Only on Azure can you. Okay, means whatever the you have license over on-prem, that license can be applicable only in Azure, sir. No other cloud platform. If you go for AWS, if you go for Alibaba Cloud, if you go for Google Cloud, no, sir. So if you have on-prem licenses, that can be applicable only on Azure.
Azure.
In Azure, sir. Okay, so you cannot use that licenses. Whatever license are you have already purchased in on-prem, that license can be applicable only on the Azure cloud. Using the existing SQL Server license in platform as a service environment, even you can use this license in the platform as a service, sir. Not only you can use that license in Azure VM, you can also use those license in the platform as a service. So what are the platform as a service? Two. One is Azure SQL database, one is Azure managed instance. Azure managed instance. So both you can use, sir. Apply to SQL Server 1 to 4 vCore exchange. For every 1 core SQL Server enterprises, you can get 4 vCore per managed instance or Azure SQL database, general purpose and hyperscale tier, or 4 vCore of SQL Server standard edition. Okay, in simple terms, what Microsoft is telling, if we have enterprise license, with 1 core enterprise license, okay, you will get 4 vCore SQL managed instance and or Azure SQL database, general purpose and hyperscale. You cannot purchase business critical. You cannot purchase business critical, sir, with your license on your on-prem. Okay, so whatever SQL Server Enterprise 1 core SQL Server Enterprise license you have on-prem, right? That can be used on the Azure managed instance or Azure SQL database only under general purpose and hyperscale, sir. You will get 4 core. Got you?
Yes.
Online people, are getting my point? Everyone's so silent. Hey, if we have license 1 core with SQL enterprise license on-prem, sir, when you go to the Azure SQL database or Azure managed instance, you will get 4 core. You will get 4 core, sir. 4 core. You can deploy under vCore, business, hyperscale or general purpose, sir.
Okay.
Clear? Not clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, clear.
So this is the licensing part, sir. Means you are not wasting your license which you purchased on-prem that can be utilized in the PaaS as well. Not only IaaS, you can also use in the PaaS. You are not wasting your licensing. So Microsoft will maintain a different team for licensing part, sir. So they will contact you. So we are not more involved on the licensing part. So a different team will be manage all the licensing. So okay, so they will contact and they will get all the details about your licensing. Clear? Not clear? The complete information about the vCore when you go for general purpose, when you go for hyperscale, when you go for business critical, provisioned serverless, licensing, how Microsoft is creating a backend infrastructure. Any questions? Any queries?
Licensing part, if you select the yes option, there will be any options, right? Once you select the
So
license.
we can go here, okay, but
Okay.
we are under free trial, right? You can go, nothing will happen, okay. But in real world, definitely they will contact your licensee. Will definitely will contact,
Okay.
okay. But in general practice purpose, as I already told you, right, you can use it, sir. Clear? Not clear?
Yes, yes.
So nothing. No one will contact you, okay? No.
So what happens to the CAL licenses, client access licenses, if we have? This also only mentions the core, right?
Sorry. Yes.
We have 2 licenses, right? It's core base and the client access license, that is CAL.
Yes. Yes.
So it
So,
mentions only core. There is nothing about CAL.
then we cannot.
Okay.
Because that's what. So when you deep dive, okay, so even Microsoft is not full-fledgedly designed the docs, sir. It's very difficult to get additional more information. Okay, so that's what I cannot misguide you. Okay, so that is not so. Whatever I am good, so I wanted to completely help you over the complete on the Azure. So I believe now you got all the idea about license, service fabric, serverless, provision, hardware configuration, purchasing model, vCore, and DTU.
Yes. Another question.
Yes, sir.
In on-premise, we are generally charged for production licenses, right?
Yes.
Not for the test environment. So
Yes.
in this case, for Azure, if we create any test, how will they identify that it is a test server or it is just
No,
one
Microsoft-
common type server throughout?
One common term. So we have the subscription, sir. When you are going to buy the subscription, Okay, good question actually. When you are going to buy the subscription, what kind of subscription you are going to purchase? See, nowadays everyone is going for the yearly based subscription, sir. That can be development test. So we have different types of subscriptions. Okay. Let me- 1 second, sir. Let me get. Yeah. See, Jitendra, got you?
Yes.
So based on your subscription, sir, Microsoft will going to charge. So when completely when we are moving to the cloud, so Microsoft is charging for the subscriptions. Like mostly we are going to purchase yearly subscription. Mostly we'll go for long time subscription. So Microsoft will reduce the cost. So based on what our clients are interacting with the Microsoft like a vendor. So that differs again. So let me share this one as well. Okay. Clear, Jitendra?
Yeah. One more question. Let's
Yes,
say
sir.
we have 10 servers
Okay.
to start with. Okay.
Okay.
And we subscribe for a yearly or an annual contract with Microsoft.
Okay.
After 6 months, we said that okay, we do not require a couple of them, so we just uninstall those. And then after a year, we again went ahead and we created the two which we removed earlier. So in that
That
case,
how you are dealing with the Microsoft. So you can directly see before you are decommission the servers like SQL. Okay, decommission the SQL. So first try to interact with the Microsoft. So as we purchase 1 year license for this many servers. Okay, now we wanted to stop after 6 months. How can you help? So let me ask you. Let me explain you one scenario, sir. So one of the customers is from Singapore. Same as you asked, right? Same thing. She purchased the license for 2016. Okay, and she wants to use the latest. So can that license will be applicable for 2019? So can I use the 2016 license? So equals our 26 license on 2019. So that licensing part completely need to discuss with the licensing team, Jitendra here. So what we done, right? So we involve the licensing team. So in real world, so I will involve the licensing and I will ask whatever the application team concern to the licensing team. So licensing team will help us a lot to guide you what are the best practices where we need to perform under this scenario. Clear?
yeah, clear.
Okay, so we cannot write person where we can make some decisions, right? So you need to contact the licensing team. So hope they will help us a lot. So whatever so our concern we need to put into the licensing team so that definitely they can help us, what I mean to say. Good, everyone? Any questions? Are very good. Only Jitendra remaining people: Manjunath, Sridhar, Ramesh, Murli, Raju. Okay, so very good, Jitendra. Yeah, you are just making the session more interactive. Remaining people, just make some more, okay, more interactive. That will really help us all of you. Okay, so max I can help you. I can clear your doubts. Okay, so my best I can give you. Any more questions, sir? Any questions on this part, vCore, DTU? So that I can move one more concept, sir. Okay, then we'll wind up. Okay. So everyone having one. Let me ask you a question, sir. I ask you a question so that you will get it out. Okay. So for example, I already migrated my database to the DTU purchasing model from on-prem to the DTU purchasing model, sir. Now my application, after I migrated from on-prem to the DTU purchasing model. Okay. So my application team is telling that my performance is impacting. Every time they are complaining us. So we suggested, can we go for vCore? Can we go for vCore, sir? Now let me ask you one question. So currently I'm having DTU purchasing model. How you will convert the DTU purchasing into the vCore? Getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, getting.
Yes.
Yes, get
Now you migrated your database from on-prem to DTU. If you migrate from directly from on-prem to the vCore, okay, I can also agree. Okay, it's fine. But you migrated to reduce the cost. You migrated to the DTU. After a couple of days, my application team keep on stressing you. My performance is impacting. Okay, so we are not able to run the queries. We are getting the timeout issue. We are getting the blocking. Blah blah something. So then you suggested application team, we can go for the vCore purchasing model so that our application will be run very smoothly. Now let me ask you a question: how you will choose your vCore when you are in DTU? Got you my question right, everyone?
Just got it.
yes, Subbu, yes, Subbu, got it.
Okay. Now, okay, let me. There is no straightforward calculation, sir. Okay, there is his article. So okay, so. So we need to thanks to Andy. Okay, so this is the greatest article where you can get the comparative between from DTU to the vCore. Okay, there is no straightforward article where you can get, but we need to extremely thanks to Andy. Okay, so when you scroll down, so see. So, one second, sir. Just let me share you this link as well to you. Okay. Uh, hey, very strange where I'm missing the point. Okay, just scroll down. One second, sir. This is the stage. Let me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Somehow here only mention 100 DTUs equal to 1 core. Getting my point? So based on lot many calculations he done, based on he measured the resources, what is consumption over the DTU purchasing model, he came to know 100 DTUs equal to one vCore. Clear? Not clear? Online people? Everyone
Yes.
clear? So he
Yeah, yeah.
made lot many calculations, lot many formulas. He came to know 100 TT is equal to 1 V code, sir. Okay, clear? Not clear?
But again, DTU is the combination of disk, CPU, and memory, right? So how we can say
Yeah.
it's only a core?
No, when you go for core, so we are basically going for V core methodology. So you need to mainly focus on the V core, right? So memory based on the C. When you go to the provision, okay. So when you go for general purpose, okay. So let me choose 8 core. Let me choose 8 core. Okay. So let me, I don't want read only. Okay. Let me choose 8 core. So what Microsoft is offering here? So here, scroll left. Okay. Wait. 1 second, guys. Hey. Wait, let me stick with 4 GB. Oh, only 2 GB. Okay, let me stick with 2 GB only. Okay. Today something is, we don't license. Okay, click on apply. Okay, 1 second, sir. I wanted to show you which is purchase. No. 1 second, I wanted to show you something. Okay. Anywhere Microsoft is mentioning about. Yeah, see, based on our vCore, so Microsoft is allocating the memory. Getting my point? So anywhere you are able to select the memory here. When you go for general purpose, anywhere you are selecting the memory, you are just selecting the core, sir. You are just selecting the core. So based on your core, Microsoft is allocating the memory for you. Getting? Online people?
Yes.
Hey, you are not selecting anywhere memory. So as that is what this block is also telling. See, is just focusing on the vCore because you are changing the purchasing model from DTU to vCore, right? DTU to vCore, right? When you are changing your purchasing model from DTU to vCore, so how is going to calculate means based on the how many DTUs you can go for vCore. So if you have current database is 100 DTUs is running, where you can go for 1 vCore, but your database will start with 2 vCores. Your database in vCore minimum is 2 vCore. You cannot go for beyond less. Means you cannot deploy your Azure SQL database or managed instance or Elastic Pool with 1 core. So minimum 2 core. Getting my point? Jitendra?
Yes.
Clear? Yeah,
Yeah.
not. Okay. So that's what.
So is there any difference between core and vCore? Because they have used this term somewhere. Most of the time they use vCore and the other time they use core.
See, when you open MS Info 32, okay, so scroll down. So we have cores, sockets, okay, 4 sockets with 8 core logical. All are virtual writes are here, not physical write. Here when you go for PaaS, completely virtual, right? So they mention V core, virtual core. Getting?
Yes.
Good. Any questions? Everyone comfortable?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry to say, I have call at 9 o'clock. Okay. So one customer is requesting to perform the installation. So I need to jump into that call. Can I leave for the day? If everyone is okay, we'll deploy tomorrow. We'll go for all the practice. Okay.
Okay, Subbu.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks all. See you tomorrow at same time.
Subbu,
Yes.